Hey there, Resurrection Church family in Gig Harbor and Port Orchard. I just wanted to come to you with a quick update on our next interest meeting, which is already next weekend. That feels crazy to me. It feels like our last one just happened, I guess because February was a short month. But we're having our next interest meetings next weekend. We're going to do the same way that we have done for the past couple of months. Zoom interest meeting at 5 p.m. on Saturday, that's the 20th, and an in-person interest meeting on Sunday at 5 p.m. That's the 21st. And you might be like, well, where are we going to have the in-person interest meeting this time? You know, I've kind of been trying to mix it up so we spend some time in homes, in the coffee shop that we met in a couple times, and also getting to know some other church bodies in the area and spend some time in some other church buildings. And this month, I'm really excited because Intrepid Christian Church in Gig Harbor has offered us their building to use for this month. And that's exciting for me because Intrepid Christian Church, you may not have heard of it, it's a smaller church in the harbor. It was planted about 6 years ago by a guy named James Floyd, who's actually my high school youth pastor. After I graduated and went to college, he came across the bridge and planted a church, and he's still there. And it's just this amazing opportunity for me to see the legacy that good ministry leaves, and not just good pastoral ministry, but good ministry of a church. You know, we're kind of feel like a second generation church planter in some ways. We get to come and meet in this building that one of my mentors leads his church in and week out. And so that's really exciting for me, just to have this moment of kind of seeing a look at the impact that church planting has. Look at what God is doing in Gig Harbor and what we get to be a part of. And so if that excites you as much as it excites me, I really hope that you'll consider coming to the in-person interest meeting. They are following as a church of course, all of the mask and distancing requirements, but they set their sanctuary up a little differently from we do. They actually tend to sit at tables, and so they like to share food together. And when they do that, they follow the state's sort of eating out and restaurant guidelines. And so James has asked us to do the same. And so there will be something to eat. There will be some food. They've got rooms where, you know, bring the family, bring the kids. They've got a kids area all set up, and we will have a spot for kids. So come, bring the family, engage together as we continue pursuing the church plant, the ministry, the gospel saturation of Gig Harbor that God is calling us to. I also just wanted to invite you to be praying both for the church plant in general, and if you missed the video last week on the Echo Prayer app, I'm going to put the link to the Echo Prayer again in this email. But I also would invite you to be praying for myself, for Pastor Bubba, Pastor Dimitri, you know, the preaching team. This past week we began the work of exegeting and going through the book of Nehemiah, which is going to be our summer sermon series called Build Together. And we're going to spend about 20 weeks in Nehemiah just considering, how does God want to build your life? How does God want to build our church? How does God want to build our city? How can we build together with God? And so I'd invite you to be praying about that. How does God want to build your life in the next season? How does God want to use you to build his church? But I'd also ask that you be praying for us as we undertake the task of praying through the book of Nehemiah. You know, as I've been going through and beginning to study it and just reading through it again and again, the line that sticks out to me is when Nehemiah tells the workers to, you know, pick up their trowel with one hand and their sword in the other hand. And he's telling them to be ready, to be armed. But then he says, pick up your sword and the Lord will fight for you. Let that be our battle cry as a church plant. Let's pick up our sword. Let's pick up our gifts. Let's pick up our families. Let's pick up whatever God has given us for this mission that he's called us to, and trust that the Lord will fight for us. I hope that's an encouragement to you today. As always, feel free to reach out to me anytime if you'd like to get together or just talk through something. I'd love to get to know everybody more, and I'm excited that that's happening as we go through these weeks and months. And I hope to see y'all next week, either on Zoom on Saturday or in person at Intrepid Christian Church at their building on Sunday evening. Take care.